Yeah, very, very well that you are all here so far. I hope the seats will be a little bit more crowded in some minutes. Good morning and welcome on day 2 of the ICNC at 2024. For me, it's the very first time that I'm here. I don't know who of you are here, let's say the second, third, or even more times. So hands up if you are here not for the first time. So the so-called Wiederholungstäter. Really nice. And for the first joiners, how do you like it? Like so far? It's really cool, huh? Did you party last night? How late was it for you? 2 o'clock? 3 o'clock? 4 o'clock?
I wouldn't be here, I guess.
Didn't even got some sleep. So then, of course, welcome to Valence. Who knows the company name already? So we had our launch roughly 2 months ago. Very well. So I hope you guys can raise the hand in roughly 90 minutes. So our title for today is The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Beep about EV Charging Management. So it's about easy onboarding, it's about running, and of course, in the end, getting some money. So earning some money with charging points. Yeah? So I guess this is what we all want. We have 3 speakers today in the, I don't know, correct order. It is Philip, then Niels, then Dominic, right? So well prepared for today, thank you. Why this title? I don't know who of you knows this book. It's kind of I googled it, self-help book. Yeah? The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck at All. Why this title? Because from what I heard about that book, I'm honest, I did not read it, it's about focusing. It's about doing the things where you are strong at, yeah? And getting rid of the stuff that maybe you see around the corner and you think that could be the next hype, just try to follow everything and do nothing really good. In the end, it's focus on the things that you know about, that you're capable about, and make them easy. Yeah? And that is what we are trying to do. Quick introduction from my end. I'm the moderator or facilitator of this session today. I'm Marco. I'm working as Agile Coach at Valence. A little bit longer also for the companies of the history for roughly 5 years. I'm taking care about good teamwork, collaboration, and of course, moderation parts like that. Feel free also to the new joiners from the last rounds to come a little bit forth. We are a small group, if you want. Yeah? Feel invited, and that is what I would like to do next, invite the first speaker, because it's all about content today, and that will be Philip. Good morning.
Good morning. Hi, good morning. Next, yeah. So, hi, my name is Philip, and I'm heading the product and partner management teams at Valence. You know, like 10, 12 years ago when I started with e-mobility, like when I talked about it to my, I don't know, family members or so, when I mentioned I'm working with charging stations, everybody was like asking what type of charging stations, are we talking about like cell phones or what is it? And this kind of shows me, I think that's what we need to appreciate is where we're now at, so the way we develop this whole system, this ecosystem, so that we don't need to, when we tell others we're working on charging stations, they know already about that, it's about EVs, electric cars and so forth. And I think that's something quite important, because for me it's like, today we already are talking about how to optimize onboarding, how to optimize the operations and so forth. So it's like really, we leveled up. That's like kind of how you know it from maybe from video games. I don't know if someone from you plays video games here though, or maybe in the past. Me too. So, and it's kind of like you start on level 1, where you like just learn the basic controls. So you learn, okay, what do you need to do for a charger? How does it work roughly? And then you level up over the experience that you gain. And today, that's the zone we're in. We are like starting to master it. Onboarding is getting easier, much more easier, and everything else is getting as well easier for us. So this is now where the fun part joins or comes in. And that's what we want to talk about today a little bit.
And not about only talking, but also answering questions. So if you have any questions, comments, whatever, yeah, just raise your hand. I will run to you, and we can make it very interactive today.
Yeah. So Marco already said a few words. I don't want to bore you with too much slides, so I have only one slide. So Valence is a brand for the Costal group. Costal is a family-owned business in Germany, but is globally active with 50 locations. But Valence is a brand, and we're the brand that's building backend solutions for charging infrastructure, charge point operators, or MSPs. And if you don't know Costal, they build parts for electric cars, but also for normal combustion engine cars. But you usually electrical parts, for example, onboard chargers for electric cars, like VW, for example. If you drive a VW, you have the onboard charger from Costal. But you normally don't know it since it's a supplier for the cars. Okay, but that's it about Costal. Now, Valence. So you probably don't really know of the brand Valence yet. We have just joined the market under the brand of Valence as a Power to Drive, so roughly 2.5 months ago. Were you guys already also joining, or did you join the Power to Drive in Munich in June? Some of you maybe? Yeah, that's nice. So there we did our public launch of our new brand. And again, here I didn't bring too many slides, just 2 topics I want to address from our vision at Valence. Why did we create this new brand, and what are we doing? I think the first one is really important for everybody, since Costal is a hardware manufacturer. They don't only build chargers, they build onboard chargers. They build all type of electrical stuff for cars. But we at Valence, we really see ourselves as being hardware agnostic. So we have the desire, the need to be completely compatible with every standard. Standards meaning here OCPP, but also other protocols like here OCIP or OCPI, or OpenADR. So really everything that's standardized we want to be compatible with, so that we can offer to our customers, to our partners, that they can really choose the type of bricks, here, maybe shown here with Lego bricks. So the CPO should choose the bricks they want to build their business with. So it's not us. At Valence, we don't want to set boundaries for the people who want to build a charging business and say you need to choose this or that. So we really want to be capable of supplying whatever the business owner thinks is most suitable to fulfill their ideas for their business. That's one point that I think is quite important to mention for our brand Valence. The other one is autonomy. So why autonomy? So basically because autonomy is a customer, power is autonomous. It really helps us at Valence, but also helps the customer. So it's a win-win. So what does autonomy concretely mean? It means, for example, that we empower the customers to use a lot of self-serve, so that the customer can do a lot. So empowerment. So we want to empower our partners' customers so that they can do most of it with self-services. That also leads that they can scale better and so forth, but also independence. So if they're more independent from us, our customers, they can create faster decisions, make faster decisions, and optimize the internal resource utilization. So there are a lot of advantages if the customer is maximum autonomous in the activation operation of charging stations. But of course, being autonomous also leads that the customer can be flexible, which increases innovation and so forth. But yeah, we didn't want to talk too much about it, so that's why we're now starting to get into the topics. So we have 3 topics today. The one is simplify onboarding, then secure uptime, and maximize ROI. So we have 3 people here today. So myself, Ed, Mark mentioned Philip, then Dominic, and Niels, or Niels and then Dominic. And we said from a start, so I'll showcase the portal, how we work at Valence and how it works to onboard a charger really quickly. So I'll run a really fast demo on onboarding topics. So just really to give you some insights, how it looks like in our system, so you get an understanding of how we've done the processes and why we think they're useful, the way we build them. So that's our chapter 1, and chapter 2 and 3 are more focused on analyzing data and work on the insight. So chapter 1 is demo, and chapter 2 and 3 is showcasing some analysis. All right. Then could you please switch the screens? No, I need to wait for the video engineer who's smoking. Thank you.
Very interactive.
Yeah. Oh, now it's working. Thank you. Captive portal. Okay. Great. So today I want to talk shortly about onboarding. Simple onboarding. So first steps. It depends on which role you are, but for us in the backend, it starts with, like, for example, here in Germany, we offer it now that it's a complete self-service to onboard, so you can just click on Jetzt starten. Unfortunately, we didn't offer the self-service yet in our market, so we're just starting with it in Germany. But you can just simply go on our website here and completely sign up. So as a customer, you don't need like to contact sales or anything. You can just go to the website, sign up, and then within a minute or two, you have all of your accounts and you can start onboarding chargers. So we really have the approach of that you can start operating chargers within a minute or two. So that's why we build like this whole like self-service of onboarding. So you can just test it, but unfortunately, we are just starting it in Germany. So in the next month, we'll launch other markets as well. But now, we didn't want to talk too much about onboarding of business partners. Now let's go to the dashboard. So I'm now logged in. I'm now logged into our QA environment. So it's a test environment. So you won't see any like production data. So that's why you see like a lot of chargers are not available. It's just to like showcase a few features where we are talking about onboarding topics. So I don't want to showcase all of the features. Again, this is the dashboard. Nothing, special normal functions that you usually see on a dashboard. But now, onboarding, how does it work? So at Valence, Marco mentioned a little bit, so we have some history of several companies, so like Energy Mobility, maybe some know, Compleo some know Walby, so we have like some highly experienced team members who are working already, so, and we really try to like sort out how can we simplify the onboarding, but being hardware agnostic completely and without like having too much of, I would say, collaboration needs with different hardware manufacturers. So let's see. First of all, I need to like choose for which business partner I'm currently working on. So let's say I'm now working for our demonstration company. And now I want to onboard a charger. So I just basically click here on the plus signal. And then we see the first wizard which helps me then to onboard a charger. So I just click on next. And then I can, here on my screen, like select the manufacturer. So I just saw here someone from Alfen, so I can just click on Alfen. And then you can see like which models we have from Alfen already support, and then I can pick them here and integrate. And then you see on the top, it has now 5 steps. So I don't know, let's see the pro line. See, then we have 1 step more, because then the system already knows that this charger has already 2 outlets, not only 1 outlet or 1 socket or 2. So we try to like pre-configure it with some standard parameters for this charger to like simplify, so that the customer doesn't need to like know too much about the EVE double pro line in this case. Now that's like one part of the solution, but the other side, you see it here already in the text description. We develop this, so usually we develop this charging connectivity tester. Why? Because we often have the use case that customers are separate teams. Like one part of the team is sitting in the back office in front of a computer or PC and like operating and doing settings in the portal. And then you have the other user group who are actually in the field and installing chargers and so forth. And the issue that we often have or had was that the people in the field didn't have access to the portals, or they shouldn't get access because they're like a handyman who are just like for this one project on the job. So that's why we developed this charging connectivity tester. So the whole idea is that it's like completely like, you can open on your cell phone. So that's why now it's not like perfectly laid out for a PC, so it's like optimized for a cell phone. You can go to it, so if you have a cell phone, you can just open a connection test.services-emobil.com. And now what is it? This page is specifically for the installer. So the installer doesn't need any login with the Valence system or anything, so they don't need an account or anything. What they do is they just enter the ChargeBox ID from the charger that they have, or enter into the charger and the basic password. So, and with these 2 parameters, on the cell phone they just do check, and then the system like replies if the backend, Valence, detected this charger and if the connectivity was successful. And then you get to this page. So it just has some statistics a little bit, so how often the charger already attempted to connect. So with this, you can like verify that actually a connection is happening and taking place. But there are two things special about it. The first topic is you see a claiming code. And we developed this claiming code because, in our opinion, from a security perspective, you shouldn't like use emails or something to like transmit passwords. So we said we want to get rid of that, so we brought in this new claiming code. And with this claiming code, you can now go to, as a CPO, using the back office, you go to onboard a charger, and then you can onboard the charger with a claiming code. So as an installer, you don't need to like figure out how to send a password and chargebox ID to the actual back office. You don't need to like type anything in an email or copy paste it or take a picture of it. There's no need to do so. Because what you can do here, you saw like here generate PDF report, and then you basically have like this PDF report on your cell phone. And you probably know on a cell phone, first of all, for the install, you have like this feedback. It was successful, the connection test was successful. And you have like the claiming code written here, like in a text form, so you can copy it. But it's a PDF file, so if you're on a cell phone, you can just click on share and then forward it per email, the PDF file, to the back office. And with this, the back office knows, okay, the test was successful, and they directly have the claiming code. So you don't need to like think of a method of transmitting a password or OCPP chargebox IDs. Now, what you do as a CPO, you see it here. If you have a claiming code, you just click it, and then you can like, I can just copy paste it here for the test system. And then it says, okay, it was recognized, the test was successful, so you get again the feedback that it was successful, and you can onboard it. And then you can like run through the whole process. You see here also the chargebox ID that was utilized. You can say if you have a SIM card or not. And then you basically just run through the whole process of like setting up a name, whatever you want to do, UC ID, and so forth, socket, cable, yeah. Let's see it. I'm using some really bad names, but again, now you have again an overview of what you did. Again, here you can check it and say the feedback is okay, the name is good, you like it. Maybe not the best idea, but it's a name, and so you can just create the charging station that has been created. Again, here you have the possibility to like create a PDF file of this charging station you just created, because that way you can, like, I don't know, maybe bookmark it somewhere, not. But then you can put it into operations. That's in the next wizard. Why do you have two? Because the one is like create a charging station in the field, so it's not yet in operation. You cannot charge it. It's just like just an asset, so to speak. And now, if you want to put it into operation, you like enter the address here. Let's say Tempelhof, somewhere. I think that's where we are. I don't know if that's the address, maybe. Then it takes over the address. You can like click here on the map as well. Then you move it and say I think we're somewhere around here. So we can move the charger here with a geolocation. Then we have some more accessibilities here, parking garage. And we have a hotline number. Now I need to add one. All right. Oh, and I need an emergency contact for in case something happens. Now, really quickly, oh, 3.2 doesn't make much sense now. No thanks, okay. But then it's done, the charger is now in operation. So that's how you can like onboard one charger with a wizard and a technician who is like on site installing it with a two-stepped process. Now we have again a new charger here. But now there's one part. Then for you, some already like asked how do you onboard a lot of chargers, because if you have 100 chargers, you don't want to like go through this whole process step by step. That's why we have like this mass import. You can not only do mass imports, you can also do like mass changes. I just showcase it really quickly. So for example, you can use this one here, this Excel file. It now creates an Excel file which has a list of all chargers in my backend with a lot of settings. I just click OK. Now I'll open the Excel file. There it is. Enable editing. So in this Excel file, we're now talking about like mass updating or mass creation of charging stations. So it's a big Excel file. Why is it big? Because there are a lot of settings you can do on a charging point level or charger level. And the fields that are gray are fields that you cannot change anymore. So these chargers are already created. So post-production, you cannot like change the protocol, or you cannot change the serial number anymore. So that's why these fields are grayed out. You cannot change anything here. Or you can, but you shouldn't. So if I want to change it, I can just click here, and I can now, for example, here in the drop-down, select a different model if I wanted to, and say I now change the charger. So with this, what can I do here? For example, if I want to change the hotline number on all 100 chargers that I have, I can do it with this Excel file really quickly and easily. Or let's say I want to now create a few new chargers. I just like, oh no, that's, oh, they're not. I just copy it really quickly, see if it's working. That's already risky about live streams. Oh, that was the wrong code. And I just copy the whole line. All right, so I just copied it. 2 lines you can see from above, so Alpetonic HYC400. Now I'll just keep the hardware model, so what I should do, probably I should, oh here, right, I need to specify here that we're talking about OCP16 Internet. That's something I need to do for a new charger. I need to be more specific which type of OCP16. And what I also need to set is the charger ID. Where do I find it? Here. So these are normally things that it's just like because I'm using the create update, so I'm just adding some IDs. I'm just saving it. So what is the number now? It's 405. Let's see if it's working. So now if I want to update the charger, let's go back into here. And I say create import. Now I just find my 405 file. I upload it. Let's see if it's working. See, now I get here the status of in progress. I can click on it, then I get a more detailed information on it. Well, let's see. Wait a moment. So this was this file. So I can see here already for the line items, there were 38 lines in this Excel file. Oh, sorry. And you could see 8 returned an error in updating or creating the data, and 30 returned as successful. Now, if I want to like go back and see, for example, now I need to find the chargers here. These are the 2 that I created earlier. They both failed. And then I can click on it, and then I kind of see the reason why it failed, because here it says, for example, the charger does not exist or was not found. But yeah, so with this I can like create mass updates or mass changes or imports of charging stations. So if you have a lot of charging stations with this, you can easily import it. The next topic is, once you have a charger, you maybe also have a payment terminal. So a payment terminal, I don't know, payment terminal. So, and we're working 2 sides. So on the one side, we have like integrated payment terminals, for example, I don't know, Alpetonics or Compleo hardware, for example, that have integrated payment terminals which are directly connected to the firmware. So we as a backend, then we work then with OCPP configuration or data transfer to get the information of the payment terminal and do like settings on, for example, what is the price, the direct payment price. So with this, I can create a payment terminal here. But we also developed our own payment terminal. We haven't yet launched it yet in public, so we're still in test phase. But I can showcase it to you really quickly, how easy it is to set up a payment terminal here, or our own payment terminal. I just click here again. I have a wizard for payment terminal. So it's really, we are really trying to simplify life, because you know from other payment terminals how big of a hassle it can be. So we basically just say you can like create a name, ICNC24. Then I need to enter a terminal ID now, and a serial number. I don't have one, so I'll just create some station. And then here again, I'll just say tempo of 1 Let's or you. I don't know. No, let's use Tempelhof. I don't know. I don't have any proper address here. Then use that one. But again, I can have a map picker here. So I can just move the terminal somewhere up here. Or let's say I'll move it up here for demo. Heat. Now I need to work on the address. Then I use some other address. Whatever. Okay. It's just for dummy purpose, so it's not a real address. But now, the next step is, now I have this charging, I created this payment terminal. The next step is I have now several chargers. So as a CPO, I have several chargers, and I can now pick which chargers I want to control with this payment terminal. So the way our payment terminal works, later on you see a really short slide on it as well, but it's completely like a backend connection to the payment terminal and the payment. No, the payment terminal and the charging, they only work backend to backend connection. But I can, for example, now select the chargers that I want to use. Say save and continue. Now it will warn me because with these chargers are also already being controlled by a different payment terminal, but I don't care. So I just click on continue. Now it's up and running. Now it's working in the background to assign the chargers to the payment terminal. Let's hope the Wi-Fi connection is stable enough. Let's see. No. Maybe too many chargers, I don't know. No, it's not working right now. So I'll just restart it again. Then again, I'll try Tempelhof again. I'll just hurry up. Or maybe the charger wasn't working or not responding. That one tried to work. So now I can also change here the name of how this charger is called. Parking lot red, I don't know. So you can also change the name, and then it's already done. Oh, thanks. And then the charger, you can see it here. I just call it ICNC test. So now here I already see it. I can see where it's located, and I can see the charger is located here, the payment terminal located here. So I have a map overview to like verify a little bit again that the charger is actually really close to the payment terminal or not. So here in this case, the payment terminal is in Berlin, and the charger itself is in Dortmund. And I have a list of views, so I can change it or add the numbers of payment stations I want to control with it. Or I can do branding. So branding, because here you can see the screen, so I can also like change stuff here. I can like change the logo. I just like, luckily here, I prepared a nice ICNC logo, just to showcase it. Now I need to switch to light mode, and then I have the ICNC logo on the payment terminal. And that's it basically. Now you can see here, now I have changed already the logo and the color mode a little bit, but I still see here like a warning in orange, because you saw I entered like a serial number and a terminal ID, but the backend did not yet find this terminal, that's why it's orange. So if it's green, it means there's a connection, but if it's orange, it means there's no connection because the terminal was not yet activated. So on site, someone also needs to turn on the payment terminal with serial number and this terminal ID. This hasn't happened yet. All right. So that's about how to onboard a payment terminal. Really easy. And yeah, the next topic is really shortly on firmware updates. Why it's also important, because firmware updates. We saw it like on our backends, and usually we have like on one hardware model we have 5 different types of firmwares that our partners and customers are using, so there's a high variety of firmwares. So that's why we are really trying to simplify also firmware rollout. So once you take a charger live, you should also eventually update the firmware. So let's say we'll do an Alphen rollout now, since we have Alphen here. I don't know, I have no idea what type of firmware I'm now using, but it doesn't matter. Because I'll just select every charger because I don't care about it too much. And I'll just continue, and then you can see I can save and start. And then do I really want to roll out this firmware? And then, again, here I have this progress bar, where I can see that the status initiated, and now that the firmware updates are being rolled out. Why is it that I don't care if I pick the right charging station? Because usually the charger itself checks that it's really an Alphen station. So if I send the Alphen firmware to a Compleo charger, the Compleo charger would deny it, or if the firmware version is not outed. So with this, I don't need to worry too much about it. And then I get here already the first feedbacks that the charging station is not working. And here I have a couple that are actually working. So it's now downloading the firmware. So I get detailed status, and then later on I will see that it failed. But since we're here in a QA environment, we have virtual chargers, and they usually just accept the firmware update. They don't care, it's just a dummy station. So then if I wait some more time, it's not yet done. But I can see on 4 chargers it was already successful, installed. Again, we're here in test environment, so these are not actual real chargers. And in progress, it's still on working, or some failed. So I get a nice detailed overview of where the firmware update has worked or not worked. Great. Also, and if you don't know, for example, here you see it's not yet done. So there's still something turning because it's yet done. So you can ask here our bot, hi, and ask here, I don't know, the firmware update. So how often, I don't know, we try to upload the firmware. So you can ask our bot. It's not perfect, the bot, it's just a bot, but it knows a lot already, so we're really trying to utilize the bot and training it a lot. So you can ask the bot. You don't always need to deep search anything in the internet. You can just ask the bot. It usually knows a lot. All right, that's what I want to showcase really quickly to you, so you get a first overview of the demo and what it can do or not do. Now we would go into the details more about statistics and data or other topics.
Okay, maybe they have to switch me on. No? Okay.
Good.
Then I do it like that. Thank you, Philip, for that, for now.
Thank you.
For that very easy introduction. My mic is not working. Now it's back, so thanks again, Philip. Is there any question? Are you stunned about the easiness of the process, having a charging station in Dortmund and the payment terminal in Berlin? So it's so easy, yeah. Of course, there's one question. As promised, I will sprint to you.
So I'm curious about the list of chargers where you did the onboarding. You had a drop down with all the models that you could select.
Yes.
So could you tell us more about what is required to get a charger on that list? Do you do any pre-validation testing or?
Yeah, we need to do some testing. So we do a integration, but so once we have a customer who says, "Oh, I want to use this charger," we talk to the customer. Do you have one charger to your availability? Can you offer that we can test with it? Usually the customer says, "Yeah, sure, you can use it to test it." And then we have a test team. They do the integration test, and they do what you saw here, the quick config. So we have a pre-mapping of important parameters, and they then try to figure out what are the ideal parameters and or talk to the manufacturer and do the parameters for the quick config. They can all be changed again, but the CPO is just for the quick configuration to simplify it, but it's easy. So if you have chargers, just let us know and we can easily integrate them.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. So of course, if you want to have a deeper look into the Valence portal, we are happy to show a little bit more to you on our booth 40, right? So that was the number. Thank you, Philip.
Thank you.
Then, so the first thing is easiness. The second thing, and this is exactly where we pick up the topic of the ICNC reliability, it's only easy if a charging point is available, right? So you can earn money in the end. And the question is, if we are talking about reliability, how can we maximize the uptime? Luckily, I'm not the expert, but Niels is. And you're going to tell us some things about that, how to analyze and to maximize, right?
Absolutely.
Maybe you can switch the monitors again. Yeah. Feel free.
So, good morning, everybody. So I see it's getting more crowded and more crowded. Very good to see. Let me just go to my slides. There it is, secure uptime. So what we just saw is how to set up charging points or charging stations by Philip. And right now the question is, okay, how can I secure my uptime for those charging points? Yeah? What possibilities do I have to check my charging points in their activity? There are different parts we are just jumping into, but maybe first who I am. I'm Niels, doing the team lead of solution engineering at Valence. I began 4 years ago at a little startup, and yeah, I was there like a project manager. I was also very, very in touch with different customers, and when their charging station did not work, it was a comment by a, I would say, very intelligent person, also an expert in the charging infrastructure. And he said to me, okay, just read the OCPP standards and then just look into the OCPP log files, and then you will see what went wrong. Yeah, and as you might, can think, it was a work of more than 1 day to first of all read the whole OCPP standards and then check out the log files, and then to be honest, I have to ask some more questions to this expert, what actually happened. So and I guess this is not very efficient, so we need to have their other solution so that we, the CPO, can say, okay, I don't really care about what did really happen, I see it in my backend system and can easily see what actually happened. Yeah. So here you see some sparkles, I would say, but we do not really know what really happened. So we are trying to translate the log files into a good overview. So maybe also a little motivation why we should do that. Here's a little statistic from 2 charging points which are at the same place, same model, without naming any manufacturers or exact models. But you see that the uptime here on the left side in May this year was not very good. So and this directly impacts how much kilowatt hours were charged. And on the right side, you see then the counterpart, and the uptime was way more better. And you see in the same time 200 kilowatt hours were charged more. That is not the amount or not the volume, or not a big volume, but it should just showcase what a secure uptime or uptime really can do. So which possibilities do we have as a CPO to check out very, very easily what is happening with my charging infrastructure? And there are different parts. First of all, very high level, what is going on with my backend environment? So it does not really need to, it does not really have to be an issue at the charging station. It could also be an impact on or an issue at the backend system. Then also quite high level dashboard, first overview over the whole charging infrastructure, what we just saw at Philip's presentation. I guess also very important for the CPO. Okay, I got 1,000 charging points, what is going on there? Then a little bit more detailed charging point status. So is it active, is it charging, or is it maybe also not available? And then we are going more deep into very detailed points. Error rates, what is going on with the charging sessions? Are they really positive? And then we are also trying to recognize some correlations between the error rates, for example, and maybe then the firmwares. Yeah, what can I do to set up or to raise my uptime with different activities? So let's start, backend environment. So also maybe a little story from my past. So every time there was a failure on the charging station, first question was, is the backend down? Maybe, is there some experience on yourself that you often have this question, maybe in your daily work when the charging station doesn't work? Yes, no? Yeah? So we get these questions sometimes, to be honest, from our customers. Is there any problem? And we say, no, there's no problem. But to be honest, taking a call and so on takes all resources and is not very efficient. So we build up a quite quick overview through our different microservices, just like API, interface, station communication, roaming, and so on. And so that the CPO always get a good overview what is going on at the backend system, if it is working or not. Yeah, so this is, I guess, also a very important point for the CPO to know that there is a good backend system with a great uptime. Secondly, check the environment, so also dashboard. What I just mentioned here, yeah, I think also not really a expert hint, I would say, but you need it. You need, or the CPO always need a dashboard which can show you quite easily and also is interactive for how the charging infrastructure is active or not. So you see here different parts, available, occupied, not available, or inoperative. So when there is any charging station which is not available, you just click on the number, and then you will also be easily forwarded to the actual parts of the charging points and see which charging points do have an issue. Also very easy, and I guess not very time consuming. Then just jump into more details. So I guess every charging point, when it is not available, yeah, as you can see here on the right side, easy filter, just click on the red button and you see different parts of how a charging point is maybe inactive. And this is also very important to see what is actually the case at the charging point. Is it just an error? Yeah, so that the communication is maybe blocked, or is it really no response, unavailability? So we are trying also from our backend system to communicate with the charging point, and you see if the charging station actually answers or not. Secondly, also quite important, actually for the uptime, is from which time the charging station is not available. So you see we here collecting the data from which point the charging station lost the connection to our backend system, so that the CPO also can like filter it or sort it and check out, okay, which charging station is just not available for a quite short time, and then be active to fix it. So these are, I would say, the main parts of a quite high level to check out which are the status of the charging points. And right now there's not just secure uptime regarding the charging points, also secure uptime what's about the charging sessions. So we need not just to have a uptime at the charging points or OCPP connection, we also need successful charging sessions. So we implemented here also a so-called error rate. Error rate means how many charging processes were successful. You see also this in the same table, like you see the charging points, and it is also easily sorted. Yeah, so you can sort something like, okay, I just want to see the error rates which are bigger than 10%, and then you see the stations where you might have to be active to solve those issues regarding the error rate. Right. So error rates, what do they actually tell us? Yeah, it is not just, okay, how big are the error rates? It needs to be also quite transparent for the CPO what is behind those error rates. So to solve the issues quite focused. So as you can see here, we are translating the OCPP data we are getting into different error rates, just like canceled by EV driver or timeout, or for example, a negative session duration, or also negative energy consumption. That means that it could be possible that the charging station needs a needs maybe a firmware update or any updates you can get, maybe also at the charging station itself. As you also can see here, there's just like a bar where you have total numbers to also see how much session you may have lost. Yeah, it is also a very important indication for what you actually need to do to raise your revenue and to be successful in this part. So when we have those error rates, it is good. We know that we need to do something, but we are not really checking out at this point in which correlation those error rates are standing. So we need to maybe have the possibility to combine some data, error rates, maybe the address, maybe it is not really the charging station, maybe it's also the people who are using it, or it is the place where the charging station are standing, but maybe also like firmware updates. So we created, I would say, a very intelligent Excel table in our system where you can implement different data. Yeah, you can rearrange columns, advanced filters, save and reset your custom filters, or then also export those filters you just set directly into a CSV file. You see it here on the right side in this screenshot. You have here first of all columns. Every data is available. You can just set up, and when you set up some columns here, they will then be here on the right side. So it is just like this, just like I tried to explain. And it is like a little, I would say, example right now here with the error rate, how you can, or how it can be used, the extended overview. So first of all, select your columns. So in our example right now, charge port ID, the model, the error rate, and not available since. After that, you take then the filter and filter through your model. And last but not least, you see here on the right side the error rates on the place 3. And we already sorted it. Yeah. So you see here right now that 100% with the firmware version 4.3, the error rate is, so it's quite bad. That means we need a firmware update. And also here, with the firmware 8.3, we also, I would say, need a firmware update. So it's quite easy to check out what actually might be a solution to downsize the error rate. And this right now is an example. So we may have updated the firmware. And this right now is an example also from the same model with an updated firmware version and a not updated firmware version. So we see right now within a firmware version, it was, I guess it was like 4.3 here, and the other one was over 10, that we have here a downsize of the error rate about, what is it? 17 percentage points. Yeah. So it absolutely makes sense to update the firmware and to also get an idea with the extended overview what is needed as a solution. So one question we were asking ourselves in the preparation of this masterclass, if there is an idea or maybe a need for a CPO that a setting is built up to have an automated firmware version update. Is there any opinion on that in the crowd, maybe? No opinion? Sorry?
We have specific locations where we use specific firmware, so depending on the vehicle's charge, so we prefer never to automate it.
Okay, but you're doing it manual. You're updating the firmware manual every time.
Semi-automatic, yeah.
Okay, okay. Okay, got it. But is there a need, or would you say, okay, would be a feature I will be interested in when there is like an automatic firmware update?
We use in our CTMS the API to trigger it. So
Okay.
it's semi-automatic and automatic the same.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Thank you. Absolutely. Yeah. So this is also a question we were asking ourselves. Okay, when we are doing it, or the CPO is setting it up, and it will be rolled out this firmware, and there might be a bug in it. Yeah. Then it have a bigger impact than maybe not updating it. Yeah, absolutely. Maybe we have to look into it more detailed and make a great solution out of it. Okay. So this is the main part of making a secure uptime more and more possible with easy tools, I would say. And maybe, right now, last but not least, a little view in the future. So we all are confronted with the payment terminal topic. And we are trying to also implement the payment terminal, as Philip already mentioned, into our system. And we are also trying to bring it more and more in the part of having a good opportunity to check also the status of the charging stations. And in the first, I would say we started quite good, because we can check right now if the tariff is actually in the payment terminal. Yeah, so we are asking actually the cashier system if the tariff is set up with the new tariff the CPO just placed, and so that everybody in this line is informed that the new tariff is set up. We are working on new solutions also to check out the actual connection to the payment terminal, but this is our first step in this part. Good. So far from my side. Back to the moderator.
Thank you, Niels. Any further questions? Okay. If that's not the case, then you are released.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Niels. Good. In the end, it's a question if the uptime is high or high enough, how can we earn money with that, right? And Dominic, I think we had it yesterday. So in the morning, in the very first panel discussion, I don't know who was participating there in the first one with our CEO Jörg and Johanna and Christian and what was the other one, Stefan, right? So it was mentioned that 11% of all charging sessions are failing, right? So Dominic, I was asking you a question yesterday evening, very late. How are we doing there? So I don't know if we prepared for that, but nevertheless, please come to the stage and tell us something about earning money with high uptime, of course.
Well, yeah, thank you, Marco, and to Niels. Let's talk about money and return on invest of charging stations, which is, I think, the most interesting part, because we are not putting up charging stations just out of fun. We do it on purpose. And the next part will be about few statistics and insights that could help you to do your pricing and earn as much as possible revenue. Quick introduction of myself. I'm Dominic. I'm responsible for software development projects at Valence. I'm doing software projects now for 12 years and joined the e-mobility almost 3 years ago. So I got lots of insights, various software development projects, and I will give you some insights into the data of our system today, and especially the ones regarding to revenue, because I think that's pretty much interesting. Having talked that much about error rates at charging sessions, let's maybe put it into some correlation and understand what it means to have failing charging sessions with relation to revenue. So let's ask the question, how do charge port errors affect our revenue? And we checked it. You've seen this nice error rate here, and put it into some nice graph, which is this one. And what you can see here is, on the y-axis is the average revenue per charge port in %, meaning that 100% is the highest possible revenue you could earn with a charging station by selling electricity. And what we see here, the graph is going further down the more errors we have. And it's exponential. When you have a look, talking about 10% of the error rates, or here it's an average of 5, we have already almost 8% less revenue. Going further, I think this is the most interesting part here of the graph, where we see this drop, talking about an average of 25% failed charging sessions, already ends up in almost 50% less revenue. Why is that the case? I don't know. If you use charging stations regularly with your private car, if you try it once and it fails, you probably won't come back again. And I think that's easily reflected here in this graph. So the message is pretty much clear. It's also from revenue perspective very, very interesting to keep the error rate low and take care that your charging station is working. Pretty much obvious, but I like this graph because it really, really shows that it has a huge impact. I kind of asked myself what this little, so you see it keeps stable from around 30% to 65% error rates. I don't know what this is about. Maybe this is just habit because the people are used to certain charging stations they are visiting over and over again. By the way, this statistics is just related to AC chargers, not DC. DC looks similar but is less forgiving. So you see the rate is dropping way earlier. So talking about the return on invest, the error rate is definitely something you should keep low. Let's go further and have some insights in how do our pricing and the availability of certain marketing channels like Hubject affect our revenue. So what does it bring, for example, to publish a station via Hubject or CPI? In order to do so, we prepared a little plot, and I have to explain it, I guess. It's a 3-dimensional plot, and we again see on the y-axis the average revenue in percentage per charging station. On the x-axis, we see the price per kilowatt hour. We analyzed just charging stations that don't have a blocking fee set to not have it distorted that much. And on the z-axis, we see the marketing channels, which is direct payment, OCPI, and Hubject. And here in the middle, we see Valence MSPs. That is because we have multiple CPOs and MSPs on our own platform, and they do internal roaming. And that's what we see in this line here, actually. So what we can see here, which is the first thing you could probably notice when having a look at this graph, is the most of the revenue from CPO side is currently earned with Hubject. There's an ongoing discussion regarding the need of MSPs, especially when the payment terminals are coming into the game. I heard lots of rumors saying, okay, once there's a payment terminal available, no one will again charge with a contract, probably. Maybe that's the future, but the moment you can clearly see, as a CPO, you cannot get around Hubject. You need to publish your station there in order to have a certain margin. What's also interesting here is that you can see that it probably does not have a real impact what price you set per kilowatt hour. Don't misinterpret this statistic in, well, I now go home and see with a price of 70 per 80 or to 80 cents per kilowatt hour, I will earn the most money. That's not the case. Behind this statistic, there are CPOs that really analyze their business and know what price to set. So the price you should set on your charging station is according to the business case, the location. If it's in a city center or in a rural area, you probably have to think of what the customer is able to pay. The interesting thing here is that if we compare the subject roaming with the valence roaming, we see that the revenue in each price category more or less stays the same. There's not much difference. Just to guess why this could be, in our internal platform, we just forward the CPO price one by one, so with just a little margin that comes on top. Via Hubject, we're talking about bigger MSPs adding their price structure we don't know of. So if the CPO sets a price of 40 cents per kilowatt hour, we don't really know what the end customer pays. There are some fixed priced calculations they are doing in order to provide the pricing of their contracts, and that could be a reason. One another interesting thing I saw here is the direct payment part of this statistic, because here you can see that you probably make more revenue the less the price is. Which could maybe give an outlook. I mean, we're talking about maybe OCPI tariff modules in the future to communicate prices with our partners immediately after changing, to have more dynamic pricing also towards the end customers. So maybe this could be something where we see if the price of the CPO is passed forward to the end customer. This could change the market to also have lower prices in the end customer section. There was a question, Marco. I don't know if you...
Yeah, just to understand this graph a little bit better.
Yeah.
So the height of these bars is the average revenue per charge point.
Yes.
So if you would add a dimension looking at what are the total volumes, because of course the revenue is the price times the volume, right? So how would that be distributed in terms of the total revenue?
So I cannot publish the total revenue numbers here because so we as Valence are the software as a service provider, and these aggregations coming from our customers, we cannot publish it. But I don't know if I get the question correctly. You wanted to know the total numbers.
I guess the question is, okay, if you just look at these bars, you say, okay, you need to build market because that's where your revenues will come from. But that's actually not what the graph says. It says that you would have a higher revenue charge point through Hubject, but it doesn't tell you how many charging sessions that will come through Hubject compared to overall supply or direct customers or direct payments.
Yeah, that's correct.
Would you be able to indicate some kind of trend with that?
Unfortunately not. So, but the graph is aligned to this bar here, so all other values are relatively to that.
Do you have the same values for DC stations? Because there's AC with the QR codes for their payments, which are not very customer-friendly.
Yeah, good question. So our market target is more the AC segment, and to have reliable statistics, you need a certain amount of DC chargers in the backend. We have a bunch of, but not enough to have a reliable statistic like that. So that's why we again decided to focus on AC. All statistics I show today are related to AC stations. Yeah, what kind of information can we get out of this graph or analysis to take with us? To me, it seems like there's no holy grail in marketing a charging station, so you cannot just rely on Hubject and don't look any further. I think also direct payment or potentially payment terminals. I could have also put a payment terminal here in this list because we have connected them to our backend, but not as much charging sessions to analyze to have a reliable information here, but we will come to that later on. So the necessary information here is that we probably need lots or all available marketing channels to maximize our revenue, because every channel has somehow its value. Just to show a screenshot, Philip already did that, but not this part. After you onboard a charging station in our portal, it's just a checkbox to select which marketing channel you want the charging station to be published. If you want to enable direct payment, in case it's a public station, or if you want to enable our platform internal roaming, or the roaming via Object and OCPI. If you toggle it, that's already it, and lots of people can charge there, and you can earn money. I already mentioned it. Let's go to the topic which is pretty popular at the moment, payment terminals. So how do payment terminals affect our revenue of a charging station? Did anyone in the LinkedIn bubble see these statistics before? Can you maybe give a hand sign? Just one. Thought it would be more. Ah, there's another one. So it was originally published in German. I translated it here, and it is a tough statement because it was a survey done by, let's call it, it's a group of companies who represent the interests of payment providers. So maybe not that independent, but there came out and they asked EV drivers how they want to pay, or what's the preferred payment method at a charging station. And they claimed that over 70% would welcome to charge by credit card or debit card at a charging station. Well, as already mentioned, we have a bunch of charging stations with payment terminal in our system, so we were asking a question, is it true? Did it become true? And yeah, let's have a look. We analyzed the sessions, and what we see is that in the original, or let's say charging stations without a payment terminal, we have a distribution of authorization methods, whereas 90% contract-based and around 10% was direct payment. And comparing that with a charging station with a payment terminal, we see the contract-based part is decreased by more or less 10%. And the interesting thing is that the direct payment, so my thought was if a payment terminal is existent in a charging station, no one will hassle with this QR code anymore. But it's not the case. You can see it, that there's still amount using the QR code. Maybe it's habit, or I don't know. But the payment terminals make then in the end 13.5% of the pie when talking about revenue. You could probably ask whether payment terminals with whether charging stations with payment terminals in general gain more money than other charging stations. We checked it. Again, we have a bunch of payment terminals in our system. Here we analyzed around 3,000 charging sessions. The total revenue is more or less in the same range as in the sessions at charging stations without payment terminals. So we don't see a real advantage in having a payment terminal, even though it's easier for the EV driver in the end.
There's
So,
a question?
Yes.
How long after installation of the payment terminal you were measuring this? Was it like longer time after installing, or maybe like people maybe get used to the terminals, like because those things like habitual changes take time, no? Was it a month, or was it a half a year, or was it a year?
We didn't consider this explicitly, so we just analyzed all charging sessions where the authorization method was a payment terminal, so we didn't really analyze how long this payment terminal is in place. But at least from what I know, it's more that these are completely new charging stations put up, and then with this there comes a payment terminal. I think it's not often the case that you put a payment terminal to an existing charging station. Okay. So having a look at the shift of users, analyzing the percentage movements. So we see, having a payment terminal actually gets 11% from the contract-based charges and 36% of direct payment charges. Because of that, we noticed, okay, there is a certain relevance of the payment terminals, and of course, we need it regarding the AFIR. So Valence has also the possibility to retrieve a payment terminal solution from Valence. It can be either put to this beautiful pole here or integrated in the charging station, as Philip already mentioned. So we see there's definitely also a need to have this integrated. Let's go to the next topic and have a look at utilization. Because if you have a charging station which is not utilized, probably you can increase it and get more revenue. We analyzed the average utilization of AC charging stations in this beautiful heat map. So here we see on the y-axis the weekdays, Monday to Sunday, and on the x-axis we have the hours. And surprise, during working hours, we see also how many people are getting up quite early and later. So the most utilization takes place between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. And the question could be, why not outside of these hours? And that's probably because people charge at home, or there are other use cases for e-mobility not covered yet. From my point of view, I live in a city and we have it's quite crowded, it's hard to find a parking space, and there are these lantern chargers you can make use of. But it's almost impossible to have them at night times, for example, because they are parked, and often they have also blocking fees, which doesn't make it attractive. But the point here is, let's think of other use cases, maybe to utilize the charging infrastructure more. Thinking of real estates, building up charging infrastructure in front and wanting to have better conditions for their citizens or the renters of the apartments. We have very often not communicated the need of the CPOs to publish services to a certain group of people at preferred conditions. And that's community charging. So imagine you have a business, operate a business, and you want your customers to be able to charge at better conditions than the others, just to bring a service to them. So the return of invest is not really just about selling electricity, but providing a service to your customers. So they have a good experience in your original business, whatever that is. So we really spent time on it and analyzed the needs of the CPOs here and enabled a model where the CPO can exactly do this, define a price that is designated for certain users, their users, customers, whoever that is, and invite them to charge at these conditions. So that can utilize the charging infrastructure way more than it is actually, or at least gain more revenue by not just selling electricity, maybe outside of these hours. So, yeah, there's a question.
Do you see that independent?
Sorry, can you pass the microphone?
Yes, maybe the colleagues can switch the mic on. Thanks.
Yep, sorry for interrupting. Do you see that independent of the payment means?
The independent of what?
Of the payment mean, via MSP roaming or via classic card scheme?
Yes, it is. It is, so to say, so the customer in the end can sign a contract to charge at this specific conditions. That's more or less a customer MSP relation, but without the big one. So the CPO can more or less offer a special offer to their customers, and they sign a contract, and then they use an app and charge at this condition. So they sign a contract, and if you are nitpicky, this is an MSP service, yes, but it's not like you have an RFID card.
Does that answer the question? Okay. And by the way, you are not interrupting. It's appreciated. Yeah,
yes,
so.
Yes, I like that interaction. Yep, I need to come to an end, I see. So just the point here is there are several use cases you need to consider when publishing a charging station, want to earn money with it. So we have dedicated marketing channels, as already mentioned. We talked about direct payment terminals, also the MSP business via Hubject and OCPI. I quickly introduced community charging, and there's also more to come, like fleet charging, and that's just to give you an insight that you always have to consider the use cases. Last but not least, for my slot today, the general question: how can a charge point management system affect your revenue? And this is, so to say, the topic I'm passionate at, because at the beginning I mentioned I'm doing software projects and I have an IT background. And the next 3 slides, won't take too long, are just to give you some advices what to consider when selecting a charge point management system. I don't want to tell you that you should choose ours. It will just give some general aspects. And the first thing here, I mentioned I did a lot of projects in the past that didn't do this. So there's a quote of, in the software area, well-known colleague, and he said, if you don't understand the business problem, your software solution is likely to miss the mark. So it's pretty much obvious, but you cannot choose a good software if you don't understand what business this should be good for. Why do I tell this to you? Because I really saw a lot of projects not considering this. They started to have a tender and having a look at beautiful software and pick the one which is most shiny. That's not a good way to approach this. Usually, if you select software, or in particular a charge point management system, it's always the same. Know the business, understand what the customer wants. So in case you are a CPO on your own, you probably know your business, but if you work together with CPOs approaching you to help in e-mobility, then it's most important to understand what's their business. Then specify the target. So what is the aim you are following up on when selecting a charge point management? So what do you want to gain? Is it just you want to provide charging infrastructure for your customers to enjoy the stay at the stadium during the football match? Or do you really want to earn money with it? What is it? So list your requirements and then have a look at several solutions that are there out on the market and checkmark them and see what is capable of doing that. Then it is not over. You also have to do the implementation later on, and often forgotten to regularly evaluate whether the system you've chosen is still matching the needs, because sometimes a business or a software gets outdated and you have to maybe think different. Yeah. The next slide is, so I've seen some of you taking pictures. You can fetch the slides later on. There will be a survey and we can send them to you. I don't want to go into detail. It's just like a handout for you. If you're talking to some charge point management software provider, things to check, just to ask for. You can, of course, look at the front ends and see their documentation, but there are several other things you might consider in order to choose the right one. There's the first thing, technical maturity, sorry. Just ask them. Let you provide numbers about how do they provide scalability and what about the performance? Do they have KPIs? And what's the uptime of a system? And how do they develop software? Maybe you don't understand what they are telling, but you can get an impression if they are knowing what they're doing, if they are really into software business and understand how good software and stable software works. So if we are talking about thousands of new charging stations onboarded, it would be a mess if somewhere the system crashes and you lose money by backend failures. Part of the technical maturity is also the process maturity. So really understand how often do they software deployments, how often do they update? Is it once a year? Is it once a week? Modern software companies deploy multiple times a day. That's how it's done. And they test it automatically to assure that the system keeps working. You can ask for that. Show me the numbers. Are you testing automatically? What are the results? And how it's working. And last but not least, that's a pretty high value in our company, the team maturity. So the colleague Marco is taking care here that you understand how do the team fit together. You have a feeling that the colleagues are somehow a unity, and you can get lots of stuff out of that. And if you have the feeling there's some tension in here, then that's probably also reflected in the software development process, and it might also lead into not that good software. The very last slide for today from my side is something where we tried to put together a lot of aspects of e-mobility regarding charge point management in this picture. I call it the wall of things to be potentially considered when selecting a charge point management system. At the very top, that's the most important thing, as of the quote I showed to you, understand the use case. So where are you working at? So if you're not the CPO by yourself, you probably know your use case, but if you're asked to help someone, check out what use case are they in. Is it public charging? And we have already lots of use cases just in the public sector. Public is not equal to public. Or is it in the private sector, talking about depots or workplace charging, multi-family, single-family homes? And with these use cases along, there come a lot of technical solutions you could consider. Maybe the chart is not that correct at all the times because it's not easy, but it somehow tries to structure all stuff you could consider and might help you when selecting the right solution. So, for example, when the thing community charging should be considered. Last thing to mention, the stakeholders. Depending on in which use case you are in, you have to talk to the right people and ask them what their need is to understand the business in order to select the right software. That's it from my side. I would like to thank you for your attention and come to our final closing round.
Yep. Thanks, Dominic. Any further questions from you? 3, 2, 1. That doesn't seem to be the case then. Thank you, Dominic. And one question. Perfect.
With the agility, and you want to deploy continuously, that's one part of you need to do it faster and test it faster. What's your approach when your customers ask you, you need to inform me 3 months in advance before you deploy something?
Yes, there are definitely
such. Have you ever had that scenario?
It is like this. For instance, we have public APIs. We cannot change it on a daily basis. So we need to announce these changes in advance, and there are dedicated processes for it. So we inform the customer in advance, and then these deployments are scheduled. So that's possible, but lots of features and stuff is not necessary to announce that far in advance. But where it's important, we do, yeah.
Yep.
And how many AC transactions are running through your system daily, approximately?
How many? What do you mean?
AC charger transactions.
How many? That's hard to say because few hundred thousands, let's say it like this, at the moment. But not all of them are public. We have lots of chargers at home. They are also documented in the system. So if don't know what the exact question is, but yeah, AC sessions is a few hundred thousands, 200, 300,000 a day.
Good. Right. So for now, doesn't seem to have more questions. So thanks to all the speakers that we had today, Philip, Niels, and then Dominic. So what could be the key takeaways? So one thing is the customer should be, let's say, able to onboard chargers, mass updates, and all the things very easily. Yeah. So you shouldn't, I don't know, read long manuals for that. Second thing is you need to investigate in the uptime of a charging station, and that is then the, let's say, only way, if you have a high uptime, to earn money and have a return on invest in the end, right? So even, let's say, very, very quick. We need to come to an end. Don't know if it still works. We are very much appreciating your feedback. So this is the point where you can put out your smartphone if you haven't done so far. We have prepared a Menti. So QR code the picture or use the code here. And the last slide of the Menti will then be that you can leave your mail address if you want to get the slides. Yeah, so we want some feedback, you want the slides. Maybe this is a win-win situation for everyone. Yeah, then in the end, it's up to us to say thank you to all the participants here, to the very good location, to the technical personnel, of course, as well as the service personnel. It's a pleasure to be here. Hopefully we will see each other next year. Best closing noise here. Yeah? Thanks. See you guys. Bye-bye.